Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the whole process and procedure of the procurement of wheat and other grains that is done by the government both at the central level as well as the state level. So let us try to understand about this whole mechanism. So first of all, we are discussing this in the context when as of now the procurement of one of the most important cereal grains of India, wheat, is underway in several states, and the government procures food grains, for example rice, wheat and other coarse grain also like millets, in order to ensure that farmer receive the minimum support price in the for their crops. At the same time, the extra stock that is procured from the farmers are maintained in the godown of the FCI, so that later on it can be distributed to the public under the scheme of PDS, that is Public Distribution Systems. Most important of them is that the National Food Security Act, and apart from that the other schemes that the government launches and has launched from time to time. Now if you look at the method of procurement, there are two methods of procurement or two ways of procurement. The first is called as centralized procurement, the other one is called as decentralized procurement. Now in centralized procurement, if the procurement is being done for the central pool, now the central pool as per the FCI is defined as that pool of the grains which is reserved to be used for the purpose of food security or to be used in kind of or in cases of emergency like situations. So if the procurement is for the central pool, then it is procured by either by the Food Corporation of India directly, or it can be delegated to the state government agencies. Now in this centralized pool of procurement, the food grain that is procured by the state government agencies, they are also sent back to the FCI itself so that it can be stored, and then against the order of Government of India it can be subsequently issued either for the public of the same state, or if it is surplus stock is available in a particular state, then the surplus stocks can also move to the some other neighboring states where there is a demand for the food grains. As of now, the different states have different ways of procurement as far as the state government agencies are concerned. The two major states, the wheat producing state, that is Punjab and Haryana, they generally have given this task to the Arhatiyas. Arhatiyas is in Hindi term that is used for commission agents as per the state APMC Act. APMC Act regulates the Produce Marketing, Agriculture Produce and Marketing Commission Act, that deals with the whole working, functioning as well as the method of procurement of several food grains. Now the second method of procurement, that is called as decentralized method of procurement. Here FCI is not involved at all. This is largely done by the state government or through their agencies, and all the process of procurement, storage and distribution function, all these three functions are carried by the state government agencies themselves. However, whatever expenditure that is incurred by these agencies in the process of procurement, storage and distribution, the state government are reimbursed by Government of India on the basis of previously laid down principles. So these are the two main methods of procurement and the differences between them. Now coming to the price that the Government of India has to pay for this whole process. So first of all, the government has to pay something that is called as minimum support price to the farmers from which they are procuring the food grains. Now minimum support price is declared before the sowing of the crop every year on the recommendation of CACP, on the recommendation by a commission that is called as Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. And MSPs currently are not applicable on all the farm commodities but are just applicable on 23 farm produce. However, the main important cereal grains, wheat and rice, are included in this. Coincidentally, wheat and rice are also, if you look at in terms of area of production, then this is the two food grains that cover the largest area of production as far as the India's agricultural production is concerned. However, one thing we have to keep in mind, that though the government pays MSP to the farmers, it does not have any statutory or does not have any legal backing. That is why there is no mandatory law that can force the government to pay MSPs. It is something that has been done on the policy level of the government. And this is something the dispute was going on, because if you remember from last 1 year against the 3 farm laws, the farmers were continuously protesting in near Delhi, and one of their important demand was that they wanted the MSP to be some sort of kind of legal backing, some sort to be a statutory backing, which the government is not willing to do. Now if you look at the procurements, obviously one thing that the government have to ensure is the quality of products that is being procured is sufficiently high enough or should be sufficient enough to be used for the later purposes. And for this purpose, the government actually have put into place quality control manager or technical assistant, and their job at the APMC or markets mandis are to take samples of the cereal grains brought by each of the farmers, and then they will check the quality. However, there has been in this year itself during procurement process, many concerns have been raised about the bad quality or deteriorated quality of the wheat due to the high temperatures that are prevailing in summer season. If you look at the contribution of the states as far as the procurement is conducted, the Punjab has traditionally been always the #1 contributor to the central pool for wheat. And if you look at the journey of Punjab in last 10 years, so it contributed around 102 lakh tons of wheat in 2011, which has significantly increased to 132 lakh ton in 2021. However, only one year that is exception is year 2020, when instead of Punjab, it was the state of Madhya Pradesh that has contributed the highest in the central pool of wheat. Now, what are the costs that is incurred to the government in this process of procurement? So, the cost that is referred, the total cost that occurs or accrues to the government is defined by FCI as the economic cost. And what are these costs consist of? So these costs consist of like acquisition and distribution cost, minimum support prices as I discussed before, and other incidental costs that can occur in the process of procurement. Apart from that, the government also have to pay state taxes, commission to Arhatiyas, that is commission agents or societies in some states. Then the cost of bagging material for transportation and packaging of the wheat and other cereal crops, mandi labor, transportation to depots. A lot of small incidental costs are there. All these costs, when they are calculated together, it gives us idea of economic cost, which is the total cost that is borne by the government. And as per the Food Corporation of India, in this particular year, the calculation comes to be somewhere about 2,588.70 rupees per quintal on the wheat that the government has to bond in this particular or in this current season. However, it keeps on fluctuating depending on the increase in inflation and also the amount of the procurement and all those things. So it is not a fixed cost, it is a variable cost season to season. Now, if you look at the procurement, government every year sets a target that they have to procure certain amount of wheat, certain amount of rice in that season. So what has been the trend of this target? So if you look at the Food Corporation of India's website, between 2011 to 2021, the procurement for central pool has been between 25 to 40% of the total wheat produced within the country. The total production, however, in these 10 years have also risen significantly from 88 million tons to almost 109 million tons. And with the rise of production, the procurement volume has also gone up significantly. And if you look at in last 10 years, the procurement volume by FCI and other state government agencies have been doubled from just 22.5 million tons in 2011 to almost 43.3 million tons in 2021. So basically what we can say that the procurement as well as production of wheat both has increased significantly in the country. Now, if you look at the target, so for this particular year, government has set up a target of almost 444 lakh metric tons of wheat procurement. That is higher than the last year's target of 433.4 million tons. Now, if you look at the target of 444 lakh metric tons, so of this target, almost the 132 lakh metric ton is to be procured from the Punjab itself. That means again, Punjab is going to be the largest contributor to the central pool of wheat this year. So what is the actual procurement that has been done? So as per the report that is published by Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, till 17th April, about 69.24 lakh metric tons of wheat already has been procured against the target of 444 lakh metric tons. However, the updated figure also we can see on the website or portal of Central Food Grains Procurement Portal, and as per this portal, up to or by the April 20th, almost 101 lakh metric tons of wheat has been procured. So we can say that almost 25% of the procurement target has been made by the April 20. Now, after this procurement, the buffer stock of food is also to be maintained for to be used during the emergency like situations. So for that, the government has proposed, as per the rule that was published in 2015, the government has proposed that by April 1st of every year, a buffer stock for almost 74.6 lakh ton of wheat should be maintained. Now, if you try to compare this, so currently as of April 1st, 2022, government has published data that in their buffer stock, they already have a reserve of almost 189.8, that we can say roughly 190 lakh billion tons, metric tons of wheat. That is almost 2.5 tons of buffer stock requirement. That we can safely say that the buffer stock requirement of India is not only fulfilled, but even excess buffer stock requirement is met by the procurement policies of the government. Now coming to obviously that what is the requirement or annual requirement of wheat that government has to ensure. So first of all, the largest program through which the food or the wheat and rice grains are supplied to the poor are the National Food Security Act 2013, and as per this act and also other welfare scheme the government has launched in recent year, the annual offtake from central food has been almost around 300 lakh tons for the distribution processes. If you look at the figure that is from 2021-2022, the total offtake stood at almost 294.7 lakh tons, and also around 187.18 lakh tons were lifted for programs like Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana and Atmanirbhar Bharat program for migrant workers during 2021 and 2022 amid the COVID pandemic. So it is due to the pandemic this figure has significantly rose, but otherwise generally on annual basis around 300 lakh tons of the government of wheat is to be distributed by the government under its various programs. So that is all for this particular topic. Thank you very much.